Hello, and welcome to another Saturday food support group. We have these Zoom meetings every Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I just invite people to come and to share their stories because I've had so many people reach out to me in private messages and tell me their stories. And I just couldn't keep it for myself. I had to share with you all of the beautiful things that are happening when people break their addiction to sugar and carbs and processed food. And they get their brains back, they get their bodies back, they get their lives back. And they're just so excited that they can't wait to tell. And so I informed everyone that I would be recording these meetings, and I encouraged them that if they wanted to remain anonymous, that they can turn the camera off. But a lot of people they want to share. They want to share what has happened to them, and they're so excited about their new life. And then I also open it up for questions. If people are still struggling and they're still on this journey, that they can come and ask questions. But if you need more individualized care than just in a group like this, feel free to email me at innerclaritysystem@gmail.com, and I'll walk you through what it looks like to work with me one-on-one. All right, thanks. I hope you enjoy the group. Yes. Hi. Good morning. Happy Saturday. We're starting our food support group, Saturday food support group. And today we have a couple of incredible stories coming at us. But I would like to start today with Will Oliver. Will, tell us your story.
I've been carnivore for a little over 2 years now. I practice it really strictly. Basically, I drink water and I eat animal products, and that's it.
Pretty simple.
It kind of started for me with type 2 diabetes diagnosis. And my doctor wanted to put me on 3 different medications that, according to him, I would be on for the rest of my life. And I just did not like that idea. And I told him I had heard about people correcting it with diet and lifestyle, and that I wanted him to give me 6 months to try doing that before we went with medications. I had a lot of other problems at that time too. High blood pressure and sleep apnea. I had a lot of IBS, digestion problems. And anyway, I'm not really sure what came over me at that time when I told him no, but it just came out of nowhere. And then, of course, I went home from that doctor visit, and I promptly felt sorry for myself for 2 months and didn't do a thing different, which was really more my mental state at that time. I was definitely suffering from some depression and a real lack of motivation. And anyway, 2 months later, I was watching a Joe Rogan podcast with Jordan Peterson, and he started talking about the carnivore diet, and he started talking about Michaela Peterson and what all it had done for her. And it just ticked a lot of boxes for me. He lost weight. He had improved his mental health. His daughter had done the same. His daughter's story included a lot of autoimmune components as well. And I had some much more minor issues. I knew autoimmune had often had something to do with IBS as well. And then I had some other minor things like dandruff and some psoriasis and a little bit of vitiligo. And I had shingles recently at that point. I knew that there was an autoimmune component to all of those things. So it just ticked a lot of boxes, and it kind of struck me again. All right, well, that's what I'm going to try. And so February 20th of 2020, I started the carnivore diet. At that time, I weighed 345 pounds.
Wow.
And
2020.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude. That's only 2 years.
Yeah. And in a few months into the diet, I saw your video with Brett Lloyd on YouTube, and that really kind of cemented, like I said, I've been doing it for a few months at that point, and that really just struck a note with me on how my whole mental outlook was changing and improving, and it's just gotten better from there. I've pretty much I got down to below 170 pounds in 13 months. I'd lost 100 pounds at 6-month mark. I'd lost 150 at the year.
That's stupid. Like that's just crazy.
I kind of naturally fell in, without forcing myself to do it, fell into eating 1 time a day for like a good 9 months. And now I do a mixture of 1 meal and 2 meals a day. And I really just eat when I feel hungry. And it's just been getting better and better. There is not an aspect of my life that I cannot say has improved since I started carnivore. A big thing I got out of that was after I kind of cleared up some of all that negative mental space that I was in, and not taking care of myself and not caring, not hoping, just being really apathetic about everything. I started dating again, which I actually found a woman on a carnivore website who lived 10-minute drive away from me.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
She's doing it for Hashimoto's, and we've been dating for a little over a year now. And our first trip, we went down to Texas for the meetup and got to meet Kelly Hogan. That was awesome.
No way. Yeah. That is so awesome.
And another big benefit I've gotten out of it, besides the health stuff, is I really kind of have found myself drawn back to renewing my relationship with God and my spirituality. And I'm just not the same person I was 2 years ago. But I feel like I'm back to being me rather than the sick, unhappy, unhealthy version of me that I was for, 15 years. Yeah.
Wow. That is so powerful and so priceless. I mean, people talk about this way of eating and they're like, oh, well, you can lose weight or you can do this. It didn't just kind of like change your life. It revolutionized your life. You are a different creature than you were a year ago, 2 years ago.
It's absolutely true.
I mean, it's baffling. And that's why I will never shut up about this. Like, I will never shut up. People can stop watching me. That's fine. You're just not my audience. But I will never stop talking about this because it completely changes people's lives in every aspect, spiritually, relationship-wise, physically, mentally, emotionally. And what I love about, because I follow you on Instagram, is that you're not tortured. You're enjoying the foods that you're eating.
Absolutely.
You're loving it. You're satiated. What are some of the foods that you eat?
Honestly, I eat mostly beef. I buy a half a cow at a time, and I eat every part of the animal that I can. And I've eaten some dairy the whole time, but pretty minimal. Little bit of cheese here and there, some heavy cream in my scrambled eggs or omelets. I eat a lot of eggs. I ate a lot of bacon when I first started.
Yeah.
And then it's just kind of tapered off. I still eat it several times a month, but man, it was great for if I was craving sugar or a treat or a snack or something that I shouldn't have, or even an apple or fruit or something, I just go eat some bacon instead, and that quash that craving, I eat quite a bit of salmon when I start craving it, and then I'll eat it pretty heavily for a week or two, and then I go a couple of months without eating it again, kind of the same with liver. I don't really shy away from chicken or turkey, but I just don't eat them that often. More like if I'm going out to eat and that's what's available, or if I'm going to someone else's house and that's what they've made. I've had bison and emu and some other exciting things. We do sushi sometimes, although we just usually get the sashimi without the rice on the rolls and everything. So
yeah, and without the soy sauce.
Yeah.
That was hard for me because I was just like such a soy addict, you know, and then I realized with the autoimmune stuff, I mean, one dip of soy and it will wreck me for days. I see that you put a picture in the chat, what we're going to try and do. And I don't really know the technology, but whenever we put this back up on YouTube, we'll try and put your picture up, your before and after.
Yeah, that was my 1 year, that picture. So
that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And I have loved your story on so many different levels. You know, and because we both have, you know, because I think what a lot of people don't realize is that they're walking in that apathy and they're feeling, I'm not connected to God. I'm not connected to people. I'm not connected to anything. I'm just numb. But whenever you clear out the noise and you start to come alive, and like you said, come back to myself, it's like getting to know yourself for the first time. Then you become alive. You become a new creature. You become phenomenal, you know?
Yeah, I didn't realize how bad it was until I was out of it.
Exactly.
And I never went to a professional. I was never diagnosed as depressed. But I was living in a pit of my own making and I crawled out of it. And it's just, every day's been better since then. I mean,
that's absolutely amazing. So, do you want people to follow you on Instagram, or can you tell us how they can follow you?
I mean, I'm not super active there, but they're welcome to. I think it's at Zero Sum Health.
Oh, okay. Instagram. So you're more active on Facebook.
Probably. Just like you said, I just can't help but tell people about this because of all the improvements it's made for me. And man, do I wish I had learned about this when I was 25 instead of 45, you know. Not that I regret being here now, but
well, and the cool part is that nature has grace, and that wherever you're at on this journey, wherever you're at, however old you are, or however old your kids are, you know, I mean, I think that's another thing that I hear is people are like, I fed my kids so much sugar. You know, it's okay. Nature has grace, and all you can do is do better now. So, thank you so much for sharing your story and for coming on here. Like I said, I love following your story. I love hearing from you, and you're welcome anytime.
That's great. I like hearing other people's stories too, and just. I almost always learn something when I do one of these calls. I don't often fit them into my schedule, but I try to do one once a month or so and just hear other people's stories too, because it's just good to reinforce that what we're doing is healthy, even though it seems so weird to so many people.
Absolutely. Because it's foreign, you know, to most people in our human like experience, our environment. Most people that I know personally think I'm crazy, you know.
I will never get bored of a ribeye or a chuck roast out of the sous vide, or a hamburger patty with a sunny side egg on top of it. I mean,
no, it's delicious. It's delicious. And I'm so satiated all the time. Like, I'm not sitting here thinking about, you know, what can I have as a snack, or when am I going to eat, or whatever. I'm not thinking about food. I just, it's time to eat. It's feeding time, and I eat.
I think back to when I did something that was what I had heard the Atkins diet was like without actually researching the Atkins diet at all in 2005. And I lost 80 some pounds, and I was hungry all the time. And I was looking at the clock, like, when am I eating again? And thinking about food, and carnivore is so different from that. I mean, again, without even trying, I went from eating 4 times a day to 3 times a day to 2 times a day to 1 time a day over a period of a month. I mean,
that's absolutely amazing. And I think that so many people do think that they need to, white knuckle it through this and have it be so tough, but it's supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to be calm and peaceful, not putting your body into shock and calorie restriction and, starving yourself. Like, that's not the point. The point of the whole 1 meal a day is that you naturally wanted to do that. Your body just naturally did that. You didn't go, okay, I'm going to start 1 meal a day next month. No, it was a natural progression.
Yeah. It was like, okay, well, I woke up, I don't feel hungry for breakfast. I'm just going to try and skip it today. And then after a couple of nights of like, okay, I ate lunch and now it's dinner time, and I put my steak out an hour ago and it's at room temperature, so I might as well cook it and eat it. But I'm just not really hungry. Maybe tomorrow I'll try skipping lunch and see how that feels. And yeah, I mean, I had come across Dr. Fung's stuff about fasting at that point. And again, I don't really feel like what I did was fasting, because I never was hungry and didn't eat. I just wasn't hungry. Once a day was about how often I got hungry. So, especially when all the fat was coming off of my body.
Absolutely. There's a question here that says, do you think add mushrooms, garlic, onions to our meat is a negative? Am I fooling myself, or do a trail on my body? Like, maybe does that cause a problem?
Maybe you mean do a trial? Yeah. I'll tell you, for my IBS, onions were a problem. Interestingly enough, when I was early in my carnivore period, like if I went to a steakhouse and got a steak and didn't ask them not to season it, my digestion would be tore up for a week afterwards. But now I don't have to do that.
Isn't that crazy? I forgot. Yeah. I forgot one day. We went out to the place, and then I forgot to tell them no seasoning. And I was like, I guess we'll play Russian roulette today. And it was fine.
And I will occasionally go to a steakhouse and just let them season the steak however they do, or occasionally use seasoning on my hamburger patties, because ground beef isn't my favorite meal, just unseasoned. And I'm fine. But I also know that too much of it is going to be a problem, and I don't know where that line is. Obviously, the epithelial cells, or whatever is that one cell barrier that's on the inside of your digestive tract, has healed on me to some degree. And there was a period of time where, while it was still healing, it was even extra sensitive, but now I can have a few onions in a few of my meals, or mushrooms, or and I don't make a habit of it, but I don't shy away from it if I'm eating at someone else's house or out at a restaurant and it happens to be in there. And
yeah, that's awesome. And so we don't have to be these crazy people for too long. We can lessen up the restrictions a little bit as we go. Well, Will, thank you so much for your story, and you are going to love this next one if you haven't heard it already. Donna, can you please update us on what is going on with you?
Well, hello. Shock.
Oh, come on. You got this amazing story and this amazing update. I want to hear it.
Right. So I just recently, so for those of you who don't know me, I came to carnivore like 9 months ago with adrenal insufficiency and fibromyxoid sarcoma on the back of my left thigh,
which is cancer.
which is cancer. And I had gone through radiation treatment for the first one, and then about 3 months into my carnivore journey, a second one showed up in roughly the same area. And at that time, I had gotten so much healing from carnivore that I opted to just go all in, and like Will just kind of went beef, water, doubled down and said, you know, you can take your treatment and hold it for a little while and let me just see what I can do. So several months ago, I had one scan and it looked like it was shrinking and it was like gone. And then I got this new oncologist who was like, yeah, no, I don't believe in diet. I don't believe that you can do that. I need you to come back in and do the scans again, which I was pretty peeved about because that's like 3 hours in an MRI tube. And I was like, seriously, you're an idiot. Okay, fine. But, you know, I get to say what I'm going to say when it's all gone. So I had my scans done last week, and sure enough, I don't have cancer. My cancer is gone. And I am, let's see, today's the 12th. So I'm like 50 days off of my steroids for adrenal insufficiency. My adrenals are coming back. So yeah, I am like, I'm off all my medication except for still a low dose of antidepressants. I still take that. But other than that, I am like, I'm good to go. And I still eat just beef, and I have coffee still every now and then, tea, but I just really have, for my health, doubled down, and this is all I do, you know, just eat beef, and I feel great. I don't feel food obsessed. I don't feel sick all the time anymore. I kind of, you know, I live my life how I want. And when the doctor, I called, actually, I waited for my scans and they showed up in my portal. And so I called like early in the morning the other day and said, hey, like, is he around? Can I like leave a message? Can he call me? And she's like, no, he's like right here. And he's like, we'll discuss this at your appointment. I'm like, yeah, no, we won't. I'll see you in a year. I'm like, I already read the scans. I know I'm clear. So I'll see you in a year. And he was like, I think we really need to discuss this. And I'm like, yeah, I don't. I think I'm good. So I scheduled my appointment for a year. And, you know, I mean, like when I first got cancer and after I had the radiation, that was like every 3 months, you know, and then it was every 6 months. And I was ready to go for a year this last time, and new oncologist. And, you know, he's just like, nope, I'm not ready to let you go. And I was like, yeah, I'm ready to let you go, buddy. I'm ready to let you not be a part of my life every 6 months. So, yeah.
Well, it feels so good to know that, like, it's scary at first to know that it's our responsibility. Our health is our responsibility. But when you really think about it, it's so empowering and exciting to know that our health is our responsibility.
Yeah.
We get to tell the doctor, I'll see you in a year.
Right, exactly. And you know, I've never, ever been the patient that just says, yeah, tell me what to do, doc. I've always been the patient that says, okay, let me figure all this out. Let me get back to you on that. I'm not going to just do what you say and everything. And, you know, it kind of sucked that I had to go back in because it's really scary when, you know, like once you've had cancer, it's scary. There's like that scanxiety that you get where
Oh yeah.
you're always kind of on edge, you know, and the fact that I had to go back in and do it, and I'm claustrophobic anyway, like I hate these MRI tubes. And so I had to take medication just so I could be in the tube for 3 hours, you know, and do that. And it's scary to think that maybe it might come back. And I laid in that tube thinking, what if I'm wrong? You know, like, what if the last scan was wrong? What if it came back? What if I doubled down and that was the wrong thing to do? And I was so mad, you know, that I had to do that. And so when I waited, and and they know that, like, as soon as they're read, I don't care if he's seen them. I want to see them. I'm the patient. I don't need to wait for you to read them. I can read them. So they were right there in the portal. And I was like, yep, I freaking told you so. You know, so yeah,
That's
so I feel
awesome.
great. And and my steroids, oh my God, it is so nice to be off steroids. It is like, my sleep is so much better. And I, you know, just knowing that everything, like, my brain is working again. So now my adrenals are going to work again. That's just like so awesome. Like you, everybody who asks me, you know, they think I'm weird. I'm like, you think I'm weird? I'm like, I'm healthy. Like, you can think I'm weird all day long. You know, I mean, I just want to shout it from the rooftops, like, don't eat that. Eat this, you know, it's great.
Exactly. And it is that, you know, like Will said in the comments, sometimes you have to remind yourself that the doctor works for you.
Right.
And that is totally foreign to society, like totally foreign to society. And I remember very vividly, I came back from one of my my MS appointments with my neurologist, and he read me the results of my scan, that I had no new activity in my MS, and that everything was fine. But then, of course, he told me that I needed to start injecting myself with the disease modifying treatment. And I told him no. And he said, you are being reckless. You will be in a wheelchair in 10 years. And it just like, and even though I knew in my heart, I knew in my conviction, it hurt. Like, it was hard to hear this neurologist tell me that and to speak that over me. And immediately I messaged Michaela Peterson, and I just said, am I being reckless? What am I doing? Like, this is crazy. And she said, I cannot offer you any medical advice, but Emily, you have no symptoms.
Right.
Let's talk about this when you have symptoms. And I was like, that's so logical. Like, that's just so logical. Like, yes, I have zero symptoms. I've had zero symptoms. This May, it will be 3 years that I've had any symptoms with MS, and no medication.
And it's so hard to find doctors like that. You know, I have a primary care physician who was really very supportive. When I told him I was going to go carnivore, he was kind of like, I don't know anything about that. He didn't say, don't do it. He just said, I don't know anything about that. And I offered up these books, and he was like, yeah, bring them in. I'll read them. And he did. And just recently he got into a motorcycle accident, and I was ready to get had been off my steroids a month, and I was ready to get my blood work to see how my adrenals were. And I had to see his partner. And she was awful. She was like, I don't know what he's doing, but you're obese, you're fat, you need to go back on your statins, and this is ridiculous. And I was like, whoa. And like Will said, you know, you got to remember they work for you. And I was like, hey, hold the phone here. And I freaking F-bombed her. And I was like, you work for me. I pay you a copay for you to work for me. We're going to discuss what I want to discuss. You're going to order my labs. We're not going to discuss this crap. And she's like, you are so rude. I go, I'm rude? You just called me obese and fat in the same freaking sentence. and I'm the one who's rude. You don't have an open mind. You won't listen to what I'm saying. You came into the room and called me Diana when my name is Donna. And you didn't even read my file to find out that my primary care physician and I are on the same page, and you're the one that's not on the same page with us. He and I know what we're doing, and I'm rude. Like, really? I'm like, come on. And so, yeah, I mean, doctors, they don't, I mean, I know that they care about us and they really want what's best for us. But like you said, since when are we not, since when do we have to do everything they say? And who are they to say you're crazy and you're reckless? It's my life, not your life. I'm going to walk out of this room and you're probably not going to even remember me the next time I come in because you called me Diana.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. And that's why it's scary to realize that our health is our responsibility, but it's exciting because it's like, okay, cool. I'm in charge of my health. I get to make the decisions. And guess where all the answers are? Within you anyway. Yep. Like, yes, you can listen to doctors, you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to YouTubers, you can all sorts of stuff, but you have this gut feeling, this, as Will and I would probably say from God, Holy Spirit that can guide and direct you. So you're sitting here going, no, I'm not going to listen to you. I got to listen to the doctor. Listen to yourself first.
Yeah. My doctors always get a little come to Jesus when they're when they're new with me. I get switched all the time, especially oncologists. And then I'm always like, all right, let's talk about this again. So yeah, I feel good. I'll never go back. Never, ever, ever. I will never change this. I don't care if I look crazy. I will look crazy all day long just to feel as good as I feel right now. I'm like, Will, I wish I had, I just turned 55. I wish I had known this sooner, but that's all right. I'll have a super long life ahead of me while I reverse age for a few years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Donna, for sharing your story. I appreciate it so much.
Thanks for asking.
No problem. And Rosa, I would love to hear your recent update. How's it going?
Hi, it's going good. Yeah, I went back on strict carnivore in January. And just a little kind of preface, before I did carnivore in 2019, and then I have been doing a lot of fasting, I've been doing, for the last 7 years, I've been just trying to heal through a low carb diet. And along the way, I had to eliminate a lot of things. I had a lot of gut issues. And I was able to maintain my weight for a few years, and I felt really good for about 4 years on, a lot of plants, some meat, protein, but I never really focused on the fat. And it was good for a while. And then the last couple of years since I I added more meat in, I gained weight. But I thought, maybe I just need to heal. And so I was doing that for a couple of years. And then I did add plants back in. So, this past January, I thought, well, maybe I just need to eliminate some of those plants. And then I heard about Coach Emily and Coach Raymond's feasting and fasting a protocol, and I was really intrigued because I was like, well, I wonder if I could just, take out the little plants that I am eating. I didn't really think it would make a big difference, and then try this fasting protocol because I was like, well, I've done fasting. I've done a 7-day water fast. I've done a 5-day water fast. But what would always happen is I would gain weight. I would gain all the weight back plus more because I would be kind of in this addiction mode still. Like I was really hungry. I was, I wanted to binge kind of. after I was doing those long fasts. And then I also was listening to a lot of people in the space, like, oh, maybe fasting is not the best if you're over 40, that it might wreck your hormones, that your metabolism slows down. So I stopped fasting altogether, for, probably for the last year. And then I also found it a little hard when I did try to fast. And so anyway, I just, I surrendered myself to carnivore and the fasting method. And, I did their priming, the 2 weeks of priming where you got to eat all the food. And I was really disgusted with food after that.
And for anybody who is wondering what she's talking about, this is through Steak and Butter Gal, that you can find the Coach Raymond. And that's you just look up Steak and Butter Gal on either YouTube or Instagram, and you can find their group. Go ahead.
Oh, well, and then the other thing I want to add is like, I'm a health coach. I used to be a Beachbody coach for like 5 years, like working out like crazy all the time. And while that worked at first, like for a little while, I feel like my body got used to all that intense working out. So after a while, I actually started to gain weight, not lose it anymore. But I always knew like a baseline for me was like, meat based, and I had a lot of digestive issues to deal with, a lot of food sensitivities. Yeah. So I know that carnivore works for me, but anyway, I'm now like moved up to where I'm doing in their program. I'm doing these, what they call rolls. So it's like a week of a 36-hour fast, and then you feast the next day, and then you do it again, Where you feast, like you eat like it's your job. Oh, and I'm finding when I'm feasting now, I don't want anything else but carnivore food. Isn't that crazy? And I'm actually craving butter. So lately, so I'll eat like a little pat of butter with a little salt on it, and for me, that's like satisfies my craving. But yeah, and my results, I've kind of posted them on Instagram and Facebook today. But I was just amazed because it's just been the last like week or so when this all happened, where I started seeing some shredding, body composition, and I haven't been really working out much. I walk a lot. I try to throw in like weightlifting day when I can, some yoga when I can, but I'm not like focusing on that for weight loss. You know?
And so my big question is, how are you feeling?
I feel, well, that's the other thing. It's so like multifaceted, because the big thing is my mind, my thought process on, on the days I'm eating, the feasting days, I do feel a little more tired. But that's kind of subsiding a little bit. But I feel like I have all these ideas, I have all this motivation, all this energy. I feel clear. And that to me is enough motivation to just keep doing what I'm doing, And I'm not sure how I'm going to incorporate, after I'm done with the program, how I'm going to kind of incorporate, my fasting schedule. But I think the big thing is that it really is healing me. Another thing is my cycles have improved tremendously. That's awesome. Yeah, and I think there's some hormonal healing going on as well. But I've only, the scale says I've only lost 8 pounds, but the physical part is, and the mental part, the emotional, all that is, so tremendous. Yeah, and composition. Yeah, and I was like shocked when I took the pictures yesterday. I was like, wait, this is crazy. Just it's kind of like these little tweaks. Like you think that for me, the last 10% of removing some of those things that were just causing my body to be inflamed. It might be good for other people to, maybe eat meat-based with a little bit of plants here and there. But I was finding for me, it was causing a lot of issues. And then I also took out dairy too.
Yeah, dairy seems to be quite the culprit for a lot of people.
Yeah, well, and for me, I also have my body, you know, I still have a lot of IBS, a lot of gut issues. And so it seems to just make things worse, and a lot of like autoimmune type response. Like if I have aged cheddar, I immediately, my whole like face gets puffy. I get really inflamed, and I get a lot of sinus congestion, mucus, all that stuff. So, but I think you do need to just tinker with things and figure out what works for you. You know, because fasting doesn't work for everybody. You know, it's not for everybody. But I'm finding for me, it's it works.
Exactly. And I think it's very important to, just to be very aware of, like we've talked about, many times before, any kind of like an eating disorder, with fasting, it can be very dangerous. And so it's very important to be in some sort of a group where somebody sees you, and kind of knows you. It's not just you watching something on YouTube and going, oh, I can fast for 48 hours. Oh, I can do this. I can do that. Like, you need to be connected with somebody, if you have a history of eating disorder, in my opinion.
Well, and that's what I really like about the way that they do the program in the group is you can check in, there's chat, and it's like you have people to kind of reflect maybe what symptoms you're having or how you're feeling. And there's a schedule, like you don't go over 72 hours, because I know with fasting, it can be very addictive.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And it could be like, oh, well, if this is working this well, I might as well keep doing it. But the thing is that you have these feasting days where it's like, I'm eating tons of food. And it was funny, like my husband's like, oh, now you're going to gorge yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then you get in that binge, restrict cycle.
Yeah. And it's not like I'm binging. It's like when I eat, I'm satisfied. So I just eat until I'm full, and my hunger signals are different now. Because I think, before when I was just doing carnivore, I felt, that I would eat, and at times I wouldn't be satisfied. Like I would just keep eating and eating and eating, and just not ever be full. So yeah, I don't know. Something's happening.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your update. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Is it Ivana or Ivana?
Ivana.
Ivana.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Hi everyone. Yeah, I have some updates for this week, and my back is much better, and I've been able to move way more. Like,
yay!
The people who were not here last week, I was like bound to the sofa, like I was not basically walking. I have some disc problems, so that's what happened. But I've been moving way more, doing more things around the house. Was able to take my daughter to daycare this week, so it was pretty good in that sense. This week I start having a lot of allergies again, like things coming out of like my skin is very rough and things like that. And I'm very worried because I know that okay, my past carnivore years, or not years because it's not that much, but I mean, I have, when I first started, I have a full year like that, for the people who are not here last time when I talk about that. And I'm very worried that that's gonna happen again. And I don't want to stop what I'm doing, but that's in the back of my mind, like it's very hard to wake up throughout the night, and like 2 days ago I woke up, I could not go to bed. I mean, fall asleep again for an hour and a half. Like my hands were itching, and now my hands are all like cut open, and like it's bad. Like you're supposed to have a good night's sleep, and then you wake up like this, and like my neck as well, and it's scratchy because it's crazy. If you have a like ant bite and you cannot, it bothers you for 1 or 2 days. I had that for a year, like in many places of my body. It's very intense, and I'm super worried about going back to that again. I don't know if I can handle one more year like that. So that's what I had to put it out there, because I don't know what I can do now. I don't know what to do anymore because I cut most of the things. And I feel like maybe I'm not having any cravings. I didn't have any cravings this week. I'm pretty good with the eating. I actually, like when Will was talking, I'm actually not even want to eat much anymore. I don't know. I'm kind of worried, and not worried about that, but kind of worried about it because I don't want to undereat, because I know this is something very important too. And I just don't know what to do, to be honest, with this allergy thing, with this things coming off, and me like feeling so crazy about scratching and itching and things like that.
Yeah. I'm going to ask other people in the group if they have anything, definitely raise your hand if you have anything that you want to add in to share with Ivana. But I've found that a lot of times we don't understand how sick we are. We don't understand how much is really going on under the surface and how much healing is taking place. And so I'm sure that's not what you want to hear.
No, I get it. I understand what you're saying.
And I did go through quite a long period of time where I was itching. I think they call it like the keto rash. And it was intense. And mine fortunately was, I believe, a month and a half. But in the middle of that month and a half, it felt like it was never going to end. And so for you to kind of have this previous experience of a year, this is like a PTSD response, like, okay, here we go. We're going through this again. And so I would encourage you to definitely reach out to somebody, maybe even a naturopath or a doctor to get some blood work, just to kind of like calm your fears, to make sure that you are on the right path. But it is hands down the most important thing that you need to check in with is yourself and your inner being and your inner knowing. And I've heard this in what you've talked about before, is that you just know that you're on the right path. You know that you're doing the right thing. And so it sucks that we have these crazy symptoms sometimes, but anybody else in the group want to jump in and give her your 2 cents? Donna?
I would just say a couple months in, I had that same issue. I had autoimmune eczema from cancer treatment. And when I started on the carnivore journey, I had a lot of breakout and itchy. I just did Epsom salts baths, lots and lots and lots of lotion. I know that a lot of carnivores don't use like over-the-counter products, but I use like this Gold Bond lotion in a green container that was made for eczema. That kept the itching down. And then as time went on, I moved to like it, and it would like the flare-ups would be less. Than I would use like tallow and stuff like that. Just know that you have it now, and I know it's like really hard right now, but it doesn't last forever. It will go away, and just try and do whatever you can to make your skin feel a little bit better. And just know that it'll go away. But I know Gold Bond, even though it has stuff in it that's not really great for you, it really did calm a lot of that down in my skin for a while. And so I really leaned on that a lot in the very beginning, and then later on I was able to, not have to use it as much, but it did definitely help. And I used to soak in baths all the time. If somebody didn't know where I was at, I was in the bathtub.
I use for lotion. I do my own, like I render fat and then I use the pure fat. I can see my face, like, or my skin. That's something, the best thing I can do, because I do use a lot of coconut oil as well. But since I started doing I had 1 year to try things on, so it's like I saw the fat being way better for my skin. I still do use coconut oil sometimes because I have to do all the process of getting the fat ready to put on the skin. And I've noticed that the peppermint essential oil, it really helps as well. I kind of mix them in my hand and I put it on because it kind of cools down and calms down. So at least I'm not scratching crazy or things like that.
Yeah, tallow
But,
really well. So
yeah.
Need on that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for your. Yes.
Awesome. And Claire, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if, Ivana, you tried some cold water, like cold baths, very cold baths for your face, very cold baths for your body, for washing your hair and everything.
I didn't not in the shower, but like when I have that, I do go and wash it, and normally it's with cold water. Sometimes like my hands, I had actually the opposite. I put in hot water. It seems sometimes helps. This time I didn't have.
I'm not using any chemicals. I'm not using any products, and I'm dealing with the cold temperature water, and it helped me a lot.
Just the cold.
Yeah, just the cold, but very, very cold. And yeah, I don't have a bath. I only have shower, so I only shower, but always with only cold water.
Okay, I apologize, guys, if you hear my daughter. She's probably doing I don't know what's happening with
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry
It's
about
okay.
the noise.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I will try this cold water. I do try bath and Epsom salt. I saw somebody wrote like Epsom salt. I do that a lot, but since my back I'm having problems with my back, I'm not stepping in the bathtub. But I'll definitely try the cold shower. I used to do that before, like 3 minutes after. No, not 3 minutes. A few 30 seconds when you finish your shower, do cold. I'll try to do something like that again. Yeah.
You can help.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, and thanks for sharing, because I think it's important to talk about these things that come up. And I remember when it happened to me, I was just like, what is this? Like, what is going on? But, it's something to just get through and to really, take a deeper look to find out what's going on. So I'm glad that you brought that up. Thank you, Ivana.
Sure. Thank you guys so much for trying to help me out with that. Can I say one more thing?
Yes. And also, I'm so glad that your back is better, but go ahead.
Oh yeah. No, I saw Karen. I saw so many interviews of her and I love your energy. I'm like you through the screen, you just take over. Like you lift my spirits every time I see an interview with you. It's amazing.
Karen, you got a fan club.
Oh, that was me. I wasn't sure. I'm like, did she say Karen? Oh, thank you very much, Ivana. All right. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
You are
fighting a little cold right now. I'm not 100%. So that's why I'm able to come here because I'm usually at pickleball and sometimes I dial in on my way home. It's been a couple months. So I stayed home. Jackie made me go to bed early last night and get my rest. Yeah, just battling a little bit today. But thanks, Ivana. Appreciate that.
you are definitely a force to be reckoned with. And we're so grateful for you in this space. And I would love to take this opportunity to share, and I will put it in the notes of the YouTube, that you guys have a new YouTube channel called Twin Carnivores.
Carnivore Twins.
Carnivore Twins. Sorry.
Yeah.
Jackie and Karen.
Yeah.
Carnivore Twins. What brought that about?
I don't know. We talked like all the time, and it's like, you know what? Maybe we should do a little YouTube and just be silly. And like Lady Carnivore said, Karen, what's your platform? I'm like, carnivore and fun, I guess. I don't know, let's just go with that. I know you got mental health going on, your platform, and let's just eat meat and save the world. One bite at a time. I don't know.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it. And I love your energy, and the camaraderie, the friendship that you and Jackie, share and experience, is just, it's so beautiful because it shows us that we don't have to feel alone if our neighbor isn't, like, our next door neighbor isn't on this journey with us. You guys live, miles and miles away from each other, and you still have forged this beautiful friendship.
yeah.
And it's good to know that we're not alone.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot in the community. I talk to Audra quite a bit. I mean, there's a lot I talk to this community. It's a great community. Hey, Don, I don't think you saw the chat, but I said something to the Road to Carnivore about you this morning. She said something about meat and cancer. And I said, hey, do you know Donna Green, whatever. And she said, no. So she might, say hi to you. The
Oh,
Road to
cool.
Carnivore. Yeah, I don't know if you saw that. That was a while ago. I typed it in there. But the Road to
Awesome.
Carnivore. Yep.
Oh, okay. I will look for that.
And meetups. I'm all about meetups. June 4th is the one in Chicagoland. And Jackie, I asked you to type it in. I don't know if you did it yet. April 18th in Washington State. The one in New Jersey, July 16th. Carnivore
April
Diet.
16th, Karen, for Washington. Yeah.
April 16th.
But it's Oregon, Idaho, Washington, Pacific Northwest. If you live in those 3 states, you could probably get there in a day.
Emily, maybe you could go to the Chicago one. Maybe, just saying.
Maybe.
I'm going to Chicago, Emily. Why don't you go?
Awesome. I will look it up. I will look at my calendar and talk to my family and figure it out.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I heard that there's another one in Tampa coming up too. So awesome.
And you guys, I recommend you guys start your own little meetup in the area. I met with a guy a couple of weeks ago, my husband and this guy, the 3 of us. I put it on Instagram like the day before. I'm like, I don't know anybody in this area, but I know him. Is like an hour away. So we met at a Brazilian steakhouse. So what the heck, even if it's one person.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I love the carnivore community, and I love that you guys show up every week and that you come here and that we get to talk. This is amazing. Claire, you got one more thing before we go?
I just wanted to ask Karen and Jackie, what is the next food she will share? Because I've done the sardine, I've done the head cheese, and I can't wait for the next one to try to add some variety.
You have to keep your ears.
That's awesome, Claire.
Yeah.
It's a secret. Shh, we're not telling.
My boy enjoyed so much the head cheese and say, oh, you need to have lots of more ideas like this and everything. So
I've tried more different foods since I've been carnivore. I mean, pork belly, everybody in this community loves it. But picanha, pork belly, tongue, heart, oxtail, I didn't eat those things before. I love them. I mean, sardines, I didn't eat that before. There's a lot of different foods that I haven't had before. It's just fun to try.
Yeah. It's really good. And, sometimes you don't have the idea, and looking at your channel, you say, oh, yeah, I have to do that. And I have to try and I have to be part of it. And it's fun.
Awesome. Great.
Awesome. It is fun. It's fun to be part of this group. It's fun to be, friends with people who are on this journey with us. And I have found some of my best friends through this experience. So thanks for showing up. We are out of time, but I am so grateful for you guys, and I love these meetings. Thanks for adding everything to this, and I will see you next week.
Love you too. See you later.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed the group. There is always so much beauty in being transparent and in really recognizing that we're all not alone on this journey. And so if you want to, feel free to join the Saturday support groups. They're every Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And if you need more individualized care, then reach out to me and email me at innerclaritysystem@gmail.com. And I would love to walk through and show you what it looks like to work with me one-on-one. All right. Thanks.